Hi guys, in this video we are going to understand about the AWS simple storage service, how practically we can work on the S3. So the theory part of S3, what exactly the S3 is, has been covered up in the previous section. Now we are going to see how we can work on the AWS console with respect to simple storage service or an S3. Now you can see I have already logged in on the AWS console, and we have to move to the S3 service. Now there are multiple ways we can move to the S3 service. I can search for the S3, and you can see that in the recently visited section I have already opened up the S3 service. So I'm just going to click on it, and now we get an S3 dashboard. As we know that the S3 is a global service, and at the top right side you can see that all the regions are grayed out when I click on global. I cannot select any region. Now what we need to do is, first of all, we need to create a bucket in the S3. That is important because in the bucket we are going to store our files or the objects. So how we can create a bucket? We just have to click on create a bucket, and then here in the bucket name we need to provide a unique name to our bucket. Let's say I put something like Cloud Institute Demo Bucket. Now what we need to know is that this bucket name has to be unique. The reason is because S3 is a global service, and there could be a possibility that this name has been taken by some other person working on some other AWS account. In case if you want to look into what all rules apply to the bucket naming, you can always look into this particular documentation. You just click on this particular link and it will open up a new documentation. Now when you create a bucket, you have to select a region, and I will be working on the Ohio region. This is the region that I will be creating a bucket on. Now coming to the object ownership, there are two options. One is ACLs disabled, the other one is ACLs enabled. ACLs disabled means access control list disabled. Guys, access control list is a section that we will be understanding in the virtual private cloud, and it is related to how the access is provided to the AWS resources. If we disable the ACLs, we won't be able to access the objects inside the bucket from the public URL. Let's say on this bucket, if I upload any file or a document, I won't be able to access it from the public network. So what I need is, if I need to test that the object that is added in the S3 bucket should be accessible from the internet, then I need to enable the ACLs. That way I'll be able to make the objects publicly accessible. In case if you are going to add some files, some objects which are critical, they should not be available on the public network, then you can keep the ACLs disabled. That is the recommended one for the security purpose. So I'm going to enable the ACLs. Now who should have the object ownership? We'll keep the bucket owner preferred only. That person should have the object ownership. Now coming to the other part of the security, that is block public access settings for this bucket. Now what does it mean? Guys, we know that when we create a bucket, there are bucket level permissions that are being given, and then when we upload any file or a document as an object, then the object level permissions are given. So first of all, if you need to access an object from the public network, the bucket should have a permissions. Otherwise, we'll not be able to access the object. Okay. So what we need to do is, we have to uncheck this option. By default, AWS block all the public access. Why? Because of the security purpose. And it is something we need to take a decision that we need to have the public access of the bucket. And that's why I am unchecking this option. And that's the reason the AWS also asks for the acknowledgement. So just acknowledge it. Bucket versioning. What exactly the bucket versioning is, I'll talk about that in the next lab session. So we'll just keep the bucket versioning disabled. Rest of the things we are going to keep it default and click on create a bucket. Now if the bucket name is unique, it will accept, and it will start creating the bucket. So here you can see Cloud Institute demo bucket has been created in my AWS account. If you'll observe here, I have around 44 buckets created in the S3. You can have around 100 buckets created in the S3, and then later on, if you want more, you may request for the limit increase from the AWS. Now, once the bucket is created, we just have to click on the bucket, and then with the upload tab, we need to upload the documents or the objects which are at your local systems or the host systems. So I'm going to upload a random file, an image file from my local system on the S3 bucket, and then we are going to see how we can access that particular object. Guys, what you can do is you can create a folder also, and then you can even upload the entire folder as well. So just click on the upload option, and then you need to click on add files. In case if you want to add a folder, you can add a folder. You can create a folder, and in that folder also you can upload the objects. I am directly going to upload the object inside the S3 bucket. So I'm just going to click on add files, and I'll select any random image from my local system. Let me find it. A lot of images are there. Okay, I got it. I got the Galaxy image. All right. I'm going to upload it. So just click on the upload button, and now you can see that the object is uploaded on the S3 bucket. Now, how to access this particular image? Let's say I want to give the access of the URL, or I want that somebody else from the public network should be able to view the image only. I want that that person should not be able to download or access the image, only view the image. So what happens, guys, is when you upload any file or an object on the S3 bucket, there is a unique object URL that is created. Who creates that? S3 itself. Automatically, the object URL will be created, and what you need to do, you just have to access the object from the object URL using your browser. Let me show you how. You need to click on the object and wait for the dashboard. Now, when you scroll down, you get an object URL. Copy the object URL to the clipboard, paste it on the browser, and wait for the image. You are going to get an error, that is the access denied. What is the reason? The reason is that the object level permissions are not given. We have given the bucket level permissions from the public network so that the users can access the bucket from the public network, but also when the object is added in the bucket, the object level permissions are not given. We have to give the object level permissions also to access it from the public network. Now, how we can provide that? We'll go to the bucket. Here in the object, you get an object action tab. Click on it. Scroll down, and there is an option called make public using ACLs. Remember that when I created the bucket, the ACLs I enabled, and that's the reason I am able to make the object publicly accessible. If it would have been ACLs disabled, I kept the ACLs disabled, I would not be able to access the object from the public network. So I'll just click make public using ACL, click on make public, and then I'm going to the URL, refresh it, you're going to view the entire image. If I share this URL with others, they will also be able to open up from their mobile phones or from their systems as well, from any device. Just they need to have the internet connection. So that was the working of the S3 bucket, how we can create the S3 bucket, how the objects are added in the S3 bucket, how the permissions are given. Now let's look into the next video for how we can host the static websites on the S3 bucket. Thank you for watching.